Hello, how did you go with your full meditation? Use that as often as you can to understand the cards on a more meaningful, in a more meaningful way. So you can do that with the Magician through to the 10, which we'll be going into now. So I'm not going to read from my notes, which I tend to do. You'll see them there. They're all going to be there for you. I'm just going to flow through as we move from the 1 to the 10. So the Magician is ruled by Mercury in Gemini and is all about how we think, learn and communicate. Here we meet the masculine principle. So I often see this as the son, the firstborn child. And he's channeling down from spirit down into matter. So from the spiritual world down into the physical plane. And he has fire, earth, air and water on the table. So in this card, everything we need is already within us. We're never lacking anything. And in your notes as well, you'll see the weakness or the shadow side. So the shadow side of this can be a trickster. It can be scattered thinking, being too direct, thoughtless. So every card has a shadow. So this card is very confident too, because you can see the yellow here, which represents the solar plexus, which is the seat of the I am. And, you know, we can look at the shadow side of that. Could be arrogance. So, yeah, everything is contained within this card. So we learn how to take action or how to draw an inspiration down and put it into the physical world. Then we meet the High Priestess, and she's ruled by Moon in Cancer. So here we learn how to listen to our intuition. She's our feminine nature. She's holding the Book of Torah, which is a book of secrets, and she's all about turning within and listening to our inner wisdom. She's not about talking. Magician's done all of that. She's more so about how to contain and hold and make peace with that information. It's a time of gestation. Sometimes it's a pregnancy card. So it's all about how, you know, we don't question what goes on really when a baby or a child is born. It's when you look at a pregnant woman, you just think that is just a miracle what's going on inside there. And that's the High Priestess. It's like what's going on inside of us. We can't really, we can study it all we like, but we can't really understand it to its fullest nature. And that's what the High Priestess is. Trusting that all of those feelings that we have, we are supporting us. If we don't sit in this card, it can be depression and anxiety. So it makes us mindful of meditation and stopping and listening to our inner wisdom. And then we meet the 3. We've got Venus in Taurus. This is the mother energy. So this is where we have given birth. So we've got the maternal mother, and it's the mother energy is the first principle that we meet. You know, our mum holds us and nurtures us. We all have a mum and a dad. And so here we meet the son, how I see it, son, the daughter, and mother in simple terms. And this is your inner archetype of how are you being creative? How are you connecting with nature? How are you looking after your goddess needs? She's a powerful woman sitting in that seat. She's fully into her body. She's sexually aware. She's confident. She's ruled by Venus in Taurus, so she loves beautiful things, beautiful food, beautiful nature. Then we meet the Emperor. So we go from creativity to structure. So we go from mum to dad. And here's Aries in Mars. Mars in Aries. Here we meet the father archetype, and he represents authority. He represents systems, structure, organisation. He knows how to get things done. He doesn't let the creative side of things get in the way. He takes the emotion out and he focuses on getting things done. So his leadership, he has daily practices. So this is where we find our inner discipline. It's where we learn how to take control of our imagination and manifesting and turning it into something. So he's actually called the builder or the manifester. So once we've sat with this archetype, we then meet the Hierophant. And how the Hierophant fits in is it's like going to school and meeting a teacher. So we've left our family unit, and this could be a sporting coach, it could be a spiritual teacher, it could be a mediator, someone that comes in from outside your family, and you learn how to learn rules in society, or how to learn rules outside of the family dynamic. So we're changing as we develop our own individual beliefs. So it's about finding our spiritual community and our spiritual home. Sometimes it's about looking for a guru or looking for someone that we can learn from. So once we've done this learning from outside our family, then we meet the lovers. And here we get to make our own choices. And we sit with our significant other. Yeah, so we've gone from a community to now who's with me. So here we meet Mercury and Gemini, becomes the masculine again, and we're breaking away from the Hierophant to make our own choices in terms of business partner, lover, friendships. And with the nakedness here, there's vulnerability in these choices. We learn how to compromise. We learn how to communicate, and it could be that we could see Archangel Michael here could be a psychologist that helps the couple. It could be a relationship coach that comes down. But the Lovers is all about integrating communication within relationships and listening to each other. Then we meet the Chariot. So here we've learnt from relationships in our past, we've learnt from our teachers, from our dad, from our mum, from our siblings. And then in the Chariot, it's like, who am I? And the Chariot is where we take the driver's seat and we get to be who we are because of our values and what we line up with. So here you can see the black and the white again, which represents the same as the High Priestess. So we're back into the duality again. And the duality represents our inner highs and lows. What makes us happy, what makes us reflective, what makes us a skilled communicator, what are we driving our lives for, where are we driving to? It's like standing on stage and knowing that this is what I want to communicate, this is who I want to be, and I want to share that with the world. And then the next we meet Strength. But I'll stop the video here because the first 7 cards of the major arcana in Spirit's eyes are us as children, and we're growing through the stages of life. And in the psychological development between 1 and 7, it's where all our values are formed. So this is the first stage of growth. So I'll stop it now and I'll come back and we'll meet the last 2 for this row.